Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed. At 1,000 subscribers, I'll be posting a special video. I press the call button while the faucet roars. His passport rests on the rim, inches from the drain. Dan lunges, wet sleeve sticking to his wrists. Touch it and I finish the call. The baby monitor pops like static thunder. Amara 31. My thumb hovers over speaker as numbers ring. Pick truth or consequences, I say, breathing slow. He freezes, then looks past me toward the hallway. The monitor crackles again, a thin warning. I end the call before the agent answers. His shoulders drop like a guilty habit. Talk fast, I say, sliding the passport closer. He reaches, then stops, eyes on my other hand. I lift the phone again, ready to dial back. I was at work late, he tries, jaw locked. Your badge logs disagree, I say, screen bright with screenshots. I swipe to the rideshare receipt from midnight. Drop off at a downtown hotel, 1 hour block. He blinks twice, then swallows hard. Room service glitched, he mutters, fingers twitching near the sink. I show the voicemail with her quick laugh. He stiffens when he hears his name in it. She misdialed you, he adds, voice thinning. Say her name out loud, I push. He rubs his ring, eyes skittering like trapped birds. Silence grows teeth and chews the air. Do not make me hit send, I warn. I hover over the immigration contact again. He flinches like the word burned him. Why that number, he asks, still stalling. Because I filed for you, I answer, steady and clear. You broke vows before status approval. That puts us both at risk. I nudge the passport with one finger, slow. The baby coughs through the monitor, sharp and small. I glance at the screen, heartbeat lights jumping. You have 2 minutes, I say, counting breaths. Choose to be useful or choose chaos. He looks at the kitchen door like escape exists. He tries a different route, eyes wet, voice careful. Let's sit and talk without threats. Sit later, I cut, pulling a pen. I place a blank confession beside the passport. Name, dates, places, spaces ready for ink. He studies the page like it might bite. Lawyers first, he says, chin lifting an inch. You do not have a lawyer here, I answer. You have me and a ringing phone. The faucet hammers on, steady and merciless. I slide a photo across the counter, cropped and tight. Not a hallway, not a kiss. His hand on a suitcase that isn't ours. Same hotel logo as the receipt, time-stamped. He blinks slow, caught between denial and math. Do not drop me in hell, he whispers, fingers trembling. You bought the ticket, I say, leaning closer. Say her name and write it down now. He glances at the nursery, blinking fast. I hear her breathing, I add, voice softer. His lips part, no sound comes out. He taps the pen against the counter, 1, 2, 3. The baby whimpers again, climbing toward a cry. I reach for the phone, thumb over call. He grabs the pen like a drowning man. He prints a name, small and jagged, on the first line. The letters smear under a shaking palm. I watch every stroke like inventory of choices. He signs his own name beneath the first. A single dot of ink falls, dark and final. Date it, I say, pointing at the corner. He writes the numbers with uneven pressure. A siren wails somewhere outside, quick and distant. He looks up, waiting for rescue that never arrives. I turn off the faucet and lift the passport away. Now the terms, I say, keeping my voice even. No custody war, no lies, no wandering. You keep your job and pay support on time. Or I forward everything and stop answering. I set the phone between us like a loaded choice. The baby breaks into full cry, raw and urgent. Dan flinches and takes a step toward the hallway. I block him with one arm and a look. You go nowhere until this is finished. He nods, then reaches for the pen again. He writes 2 addresses, ours and a spare. He adds a work contact for service of papers. My heart stops racing for 3 slow beats. His handwriting steadies as duty takes over. He dots the last I like a closing I. Final piece, I say, tapping the page bottom. You acknowledge sexual relationship before status approval. He stares, then presses pen to paper. He writes the sentence, each word like a nail. A long breath leaves him, almost a sob. I take photos of every page, front and back. Cloud upload pings done, clean and secure. He watches my thumb move like a metronome. His eyes track the proofs stacking against him. The monitor hisses again, louder this time. Go, I say, stepping aside toward the hallway. Change her, I will print the copies. He hesitates at the door, shoulders hunched low. Do not run, I add without looking up. He disappears down the hall, footsteps quick and guilty. The printer starts, steady as a heartbeat. I place the passport in a sealed envelope. I lock it in the drawer and pocket the key. My hand stops shaking as paper warms my skin. From the nursery, a soft chushing rises and stalls. I gather the signed pages and the phone. He returns with red eyes and damp shirt. We face each other across the counter again. No scenery, no mercy, only outcomes now. Ready for chapter 2, I say, voice like a door. I hold the phone up to his face and unlock it. Speaker, I say, thumb ready to tap the number. He jerks back, then forces a nod. I hit call and set the phone between us. A ring, another, then a breath that isn't mine. Who is this? Her voice comes sharp and close. His wife, I answer, letting the word land. On the counter, his hand twitches like a trapped fish. You knew about me, I ask, keeping my tone flat. Silence stretches, then a small curse. I told him to tell you. Papers rustle on her side. Tell me what? I push, eyes on him. He shakes his head once, a useless denial. Meet me or hang up forever, I say to her. A quick inhale, then an address and a time. I end the call and pocket the phone. He moves toward the hallway like there's a tunnel. One step and I send everything, I warn. He stops, jaw clenched hard enough to creak. Bring your ID, I add, and he blanches. Down the stairs fast, shoes half-tied and useless. At the curb, I wave a car with my free hand. We slide in, both of us facing forward like strangers. Straight there, I tell the driver without looking away. He stares at his knees and chews his lip. I open his banking app while we roll. Face scan again, easy as breathing. Transfers pop up like a trail of crumbs. Small amounts to cash account every other Friday. The memo line reads rent 3 times in a row. Whose place? I ask without raising my voice. His eyes flick toward the window then drop. Answer or I call from here, I add. He swallows and rubs his forearm like it hurts. Not hers, he mutters, which isn't relief. I tap the transport history next. There's a midday stop near a clinic 2 weeks ago. His shoulder tightens like rope when I tilt the screen. Why there? I ask, watching him instead of the map. He exhales through his teeth, a thin, defeated sound. The car slows in front of a coffee place. She stands outside with a tote and steady posture. No makeup, no performance, just a square stance. I step out and keep the phone at my side. He lingers behind me like a shadow with weight. 5 minutes, she says, eyes on me, not him. You know about the hotel, I say. Her chin lifts, but she doesn't flinch. Twice, she replies, gaze cutting toward him once. He shifts like his shoes are full of pins. You thought he was single, I wait for her answer. He wore no ring either time, she replies. She lifts a folded printout from her bag. His resume has no spouse field, she adds, crisp. He closes his eyes like a door slamming. Why the clinic stop? I ask, keeping tempo. I had an appointment and needed a ride, she says. The driver canceled and he was nearby. Did he wait inside? I ask, heat rising slow. She nods once, then glances at his hands. I do not want your house, she adds quickly. I want the truth recorded today. She pulls a pen and a simple lined sheet. I wrote the dates and the hotel locations. She places it between us like evidence on glass. He reaches for the paper and I block him. You can read after I photograph, I say. I snap each line and upload while they breathe. Dates match the receipts in his history. She watches the screen and doesn't look away. Did he promise anything tied to status? I press. Her mouth tightens then releases. He said we could be official after his interview. He asked me to be a reference for stability. The word hangs between us like a set trap. I turn to him and wait for a denial. He's empty, like someone unplugged the power. You risked us both for a fake alibi, I say. He presses fingers to his temples and sways once. Do you understand what perjury looks like? I ask. The door of the car beeps and our driver checks the clock. I hold up a palm and buy another minute. To her I say this clean and measured. I need a written statement with contact details. And I need you to stop any coordination with him. She studies me, then nods once like a pact. She writes steadily, no flourish, no pause. I watch the lines fill with simple facts. She signs and dates, then slides it across. Her hand shakes after the pen leaves the page. You leave him out of your doorway from now, I add. She nods again, eyes swinging to the curb. I blocked him last night, she replies under breath. I will keep it that way, she says firmer. His mouth opens then shuts with nothing inside. I take a second sheet and write my own conditions. No calls to her, no messages, no surprises. No pressure about interviews or forms of any kind. He reads them, face paling 1 degree at a time. He signs with a scratch that looks like surrender. The driver taps the wheel while traffic thickens. I send copies to my cloud in a fresh folder. Then I text my attorney, S. Intake line with 1 sentence. Urgent conflict of interest, documentation attached. I feel my pulse settle into something operational. Do you need anything else from me? She asks. You already gave me enough, I answer, meaning it. She exhales and lifts her tote until her knuckles whiten. Good luck, she adds, not unkind, and steps back. I hold her gaze until she turns and goes. Back in the car, I finally face him directly. You involved her in a federal process for cover. He nods once, a tiny movement with huge weight. That ends today, I say, voice clipped clean. He stares at the sidewalk like it might split open. I forward the images to his work email marked personal. I CC myself and add a subject with 3 words. Breach, fraud, consequences. He watches his screen light in his pocket. He doesn't reach for it, which tells me plenty. Home, I tell the driver, and we pull into traffic. A siren wails somewhere ahead and lights stutter. I look at the timestamp on every file again. No gaps, no loose ends, no missing time. I close the gallery and breathe through my teeth. He finally finds words and tries for pity. We can fix this if you calm down. I laugh once, short as a slap across water. We are not fixing, we are documenting. Next, we notify the agency before anyone spins it. The car stops at a red and everything holds for a beat. I tilt the phone so he can see my draft email. Straight facts, attach proofs, 3 concise bullet points. He reads and sinks back against the seat in silence. The light flips green and we roll toward the reckoning. I hit send on the withdrawal notice and dial the agency. Speaker on the counter, case number ready, voice steady. Petition withdrawal for cause, I state, eyes on him. His fingers hover over the phone, then retreat fast. A calm operator gives me a submission code and next steps. Upload the affidavit now, the operator instructs, tone neutral. I open the portal, attach the signed confession, attach receipts. He whispers for mercy, hands clenched and shaking. Receipt confirmed, the operator says, then the line clicks. I save the code out loud so he hears every digit. His pocket buzzes and he flinches like it burned. He checks the screen, lips parting before he hides it. Work, he mutters, eyes darting toward the door. Answer, I tell him, folding my arms across my chest. He taps accept and listens while color drains from his face. Compliance wants your laptop, a careful voice tells him. He nods at nothing, throat-working words stuck. Bring it in today for a quick review, the voice continues. He looks at me for permission that no longer exists. I tilt my head and point at the hallway without blinking. We move short steps, no extra talk, no delay. He grabs the device, cords hanging like useless tails. I film the handoff with a clean angle and timestamp. Leaving the unit with employee, I say clearly for record. He glares, then zips the bag with jerky focus. Ride or walk, I ask, blocking the door with my stance. Ride, he answers, voice gravelly and thin. I order a car and message my attorney intake line. Urgent update, documents uploaded, employer looped, statement pending. He tracks every tap like a trapped animal measuring fences. The car arrives and I slide in before he moves. Headquarters, I tell the driver, tone clipped and simple. He climbs in beside me, shoulders rigid, jaw set. I open the notary app and snag the first slot. After the handoff, we swear a statement, I tell him. He tries a bargain with his palms lifted halfway. Give me weekends with her and I'll cooperate. You get supervised hours only, no overnights, no exceptions. He stares at the seatbelt and bites his lip hard. Cooperate anyway, I add, making the point land. We reach his building and he hesitates on the sidewalk. I hold my phone high so the camera sees everything. A guard waves him through and stops at my raised hand. Visitor for a short compliance drop, I say calmly. The guard nods and calls upstairs while we wait. His manager steps out, polite and careful and formal. Device in our custody until audit completes, she states. He winces and places it in our hands. I note the time and her name for my file. He avoids my eyes like the floor became interesting. Back in the car, the notary message pings confirmed. 10 minutes away, I read, then share the address. He rubs his temple and tries another angle. Do not destroy my chance to be a father. You destroyed it when you staged a fake reference, I answer. The notary office is small and empty and efficient. I place the affidavit and the evidence on the desk. Sworn statement for immigration and family court, I say. The notary checks our IDs and lifts a stamp. He shifts his weight like the floor moved. State the facts you witnessed today, the notary prompts. I recite the calls, the transfer trail, the signed confession. I confirm. The timeline, the employer notice, the portal receipt. The stamp drops with a clean press and final click. He exhales, a broken sound caught halfway. My phone vibrates with a new message from her. A screenshot of an appointment, date and time circled. No comment, just the proof and a question mark. I reply with one line about testing after confirmation. He sees the screen and jerks like stung. No test, he blurts, eyes wild and pleading. Test or I file for sanctions, I counter quietly. You chose uncertainty, I choose verification, we follow through. He scrubs his face and looks at the ceiling. Silence stretches, then he nods once, tiny and bitter. Outside, I contact a licensed server and share the packet. Address, schedule, restrictions, safety notes for our child. The server replies with a slot for early morning. Service at his workplace, signature required, proof of delivery. He swallows hard and asks if I'm finished. Next step is an order for temporary safeguards, I answer. Terms include distance, messages limited, pickup rules documented. He opens his mouth and then bites back noise. You can object in court on the record, I add. He looks at his shoes like they might help. We head home and I make 3 quick calls. One to a clinic about supervised exchanges on site. One to my neighbor for a third-party witness on pickups. One to a sitter for backup during hearings and filings. He hears each name and tenses like a coiled spring. At the door he reaches for the spare keys. I remove the ring and slide it into my pocket. Access is scheduled, not assumed, not tonight, I tell him. He breathes hard through his nose and stares past me. Do not test me with surprises, I add quietly. A new email lands with a dull chime. Agency field office requests additional documents by end of week. I pull the camera footage from today and label everything. He watches me title each file with clean, sharp words. There is no version where this disappears, I say. He steps closer, hands open like a truce that never arrives. I can still interview if you stop this. You will interview and hear me withdraw in person. His mouth twitches and something dark passes through. Then choose supervised visits forever or none at all. My doorbell pulses once and we both tense. Through the peephole, a courier lifts a large envelope. I open and sign while keeping my stance firm. Return address reads like a federal return volley. I carry it to the counter without breaking eye contact. Open it, he whispers, voice brittle as sugar glass. I slice the seal and slide out the notice slowly. Interview date stamped sooner than expected, time locked. I lay the page flat and tap the location twice. Mark your calendar or start packing, I say, letting it hang. I push through security with the envelope under my arm. He trails behind me, eyes on the floor and lips tight. Joint interview, the guard points and we follow the line. I do not look back when he reaches for my sleeve. We sit apart on the metal chairs and wait. An officer calls our case number with a flat voice. I stand first and hand over the submission code. Petition withdrawal for cause, I say, steady and clear. The officer scans the affidavit and lifts one eyebrow. Separate rooms, he says, and a door clicks open. Inside, I place my phone on the tray. I set the signed confession on top without flair. Record for the file, I tell the camera. The officer nods and starts the recorder with one tap. State the reason for withdrawal, he prompts. He carried on a sexual relationship during processing, I answer. Here are receipts, timelines, and a third-party statement. Each sheet hits the table with a dry, final sound. He reads fast, then circles 2 dates with his pen. Was anyone coached for interviews? He asks. He approached a woman to be a stability reference. She now refuses contact and provided these details. I slide the printout in the email thread across. He studies the names and underlines one entry twice. Any threats or retaliation? He asks without a blink. None from me, only terms for custody and access. Supervised exchanges proposed, no unscheduled visits, no contact with her. He writes 3 short notes and pauses to meet my eyes. Do you want to attend his session? He asks. I want to finalize the withdrawal on record, I answer. A knock, a second officer peers in and signals. Interviewee requested joint presence, the second murmurs. Declined, I reply before anyone breathes. The first officer nods and waves me to the hall. Wait there, we will call you if needed. I step out and check my messages once. A ping from the process server with a fresh photo. His signature on the earlier packet, time-stamped and clear. Another ping from my attorney with 2 words. Filed, accepted. The screen steadies my breathing. The door opens and they bring him past me. He tries a small smile that looks like pain. Stop, the officer says when he slows near my chair. He faces forward again and disappears into room 2. I press my thumb and B against the envelope and count breaths. Minutes pass like stones until the door opens again. Back inside, the first officer calls, voice even. I enter and sit with both hands on the folder. We need you to affirm in his presence now. For clarity, he adds and waves the other door. They seat him opposite me with a calm barrier. He leans forward and whispers like a broken radio. Please, I will do anything for our child. Answer the officer, I say, not turning my head. The recorder light blinks while the room holds. Do you confirm you engaged in a sexual relationship? The officer asks. He stares at the table and nods once. Use your voice for the record, the officer prompts. Yes, he says, barely above air. During the pendency of this case, the officer continues. Yes, he repeats, throat tight and hands shaking. Were any third parties asked to provide false support? He hesitates, then presses both hands flat. Yes, he says, and the word sinks hard. The officer writes for a long, careful beat. Do you understand withdrawal implications? The officer asks next. Yes, he answers, voice steadier than before. Do you wish to submit evidence in rebuttal? He swallows and looks at me for permission. I watch the clock and keep my mouth shut. None, he finally says, shoulders dropping an inch. The officer gathers our documents into a neat stack. Final confirmation from the petitioner, he says, looking at me. I withdraw sponsorship for cause and request acknowledgement. He stamps the form with one precise motion. The officer opens a drawer and slides out a notice. Your case will be reviewed for further action, he states. Voluntary departure can be discussed with counsel. He hands him a printed list of legal clinics. He takes it with fingers that barely hold. We are done here, the officer concludes quietly. Security will walk you to the lobby. I stand and pick up the envelope, nothing else. At the door he turns, eyes bright with fear. Supervised contact or none, I remind him, voice flat. In the hallway, my phone vibrates again. A lab confirms the appointment for genetic testing tomorrow. Consent form attached with digital signature requirement. I forward the link to both involved parties. I add a single line, be on time or explain. He shuffles out behind me and matches my pace. You won, are you satisfied? He asks, breath ragged. I will be satisfied when our child is safe, I answer. Then prove steady support and follow every rule. He blinks hard like the words sting. At the exit, a message lands from his manager. Laptop audit complete, please schedule a conversation. He reads over my shoulder and sags against the wall. Do not lose that job, I say with zero softness. Your payments start with the first Friday. Outside, my sitter texts that nap went smooth. I reply with a heart and a time for pickup. He reaches like he wants to touch my arm. I step aside and let his hand find air. Keep your distance, I warn, eyes on his shoes. A rideshare slides to the curb and opens its door. Home, I tell the driver, voice dry and focused. He climbs in after a long pause and buckles slowly. We ride without words while notifications stack. Every ping feels like a door locking shut. Halfway there, a new email appears from the agency. Receipt of withdrawal recorded. Do not appear jointly again. I forward it to my attorney with a short note. Hearing preparation begins today. Documents already in queue. He stares at the city flashing by like a stranger. We pull up to the building and I step out first. He lingers by the door as if distance helps. Schedule your visit through the clinic desk, I instruct. No texting at night, no surprise stops, no exceptions. He nods once and rubs his wrist until the skin reddens. Inside, I set the envelope in the drawer and lock it. I check the baby monitor and listen for steady breaths. He waits at the threshold like a shadow pinned. You can leave now or call the clinic, I say. He chooses the hallway and vanishes without a word. My phone buzzes one more time before I exhale. The server confirms delivery of the parenting plan draft. Signature required within 48 hours or motion proceeds. I place the phone face down and grip the counter. The next move is his and the clock has teeth. The technician lifts the swab and gestures at his cheek. He turns his head like the cotton might bite. Open, I say, steady and clear across the table. Layla watches with arms crossed and jaw firm. He finally parts his lips as the clock ticks. The swab touches, he jerks, the stick scrapes anyway. Hold still, the tech warns without looking up. I sign the chain form and push it toward him. He hesitates at the signature line and scans the barcode. Write or explain refusal on camera, I tell him. Layla leans forward and signs her own section. Her hands shake, but the letters stay neat. She sly. Desks the pen back toward the tech. The camera blinks while envelopes click shut. He stares at the sealed pouch like it laughs. He reaches for his water and I tap the table. No food before your sample, I remind him. He sets the bottle down and wipes his mouth. The tech glances at his lips and nods once. Second swab now, she says, tone brisk. He tries to ask for a bathroom break first. The tech points to the posted rule on the wall. After collection, she states, hand extended again. He breathes through his nose and opens wider. The swab turns, slow and efficient like a key. When it's done, the tech stamps the labels tight. Results by Friday, she says, sealing the packet. I ask for email delivery and a printed copy. Layla requests the same and checks her phone. He stands too fast and bumps the chair. Outside the door, he starts bargaining with gestures. Call off supervised visits if the test clears. Terms stay until a judge changes them, I answer. He paces 2 steps, then forces a careful nod. I watch his shoes track anxiety down the hall. Layla pulls me aside and lowers her voice. He texted last night and begged me to lie. My stomach tightens like a knot pulled hard. Forward everything and block his number again. She shows me the thread and hits send. He notices the move and lifts his hands. I asked for time only, he claims without looking. You asked for a false statement, I counter. Layla holds the phone like a hot brick. He stares at the ceiling and bites his lip. We walk to the elevator and the doors split. He waits for me to step in first. I stay planted until Layla enters beside me. He joins us and keeps a full arm's distance. The ride drops and no one breathes. In the lobby, my attorney calls with updates. Temporary order hearing added for Monday, she says. Proof of service complete and employer confirmed availability. I repeat the date and time for both of them. He grimaces while Layla opens her calendar. Supervised center can accommodate Sundays, I add. He nods and wipes his face with his wrist. 2 hours observed, no exceptions and no gifts. Layla glances at him like she hears a siren. He swallows and asks where to check in. At the front desk and nowhere else, I answer. Bring ID and show the order at arrival. He opens his mouth, then closes it hard. Layla shifts her weight and looks toward the exit. I end the call and lead the way outside. At the curb, a message lands from his job. Meeting at noon to discuss device findings. He reads over my shoulder and goes pale. Take the meeting and keep your voice measured. Delay one lie and you lose everything. He pulls in a breath and nods slowly. I will pay on time starting Friday, he says. Automate it, I reply, handing him a routing sheet. No cash, no excuses, no late night calls. He tucks the paper away like it burns. Layla takes a small step closer to me. I will attend Sunday with a friend present. That works, I answer, pulse steadying by inches. Do not speak to her outside structured times, I add. He lifts a hand, then lets it fall. My sitter messages that our daughter is awake. I text back with the pickup window for later. He looks hopeful and then remembers the rules. Sunday only, I remind him, eyes locked. He nods and backs away toward the corner. Another alert chimes from the lab desk. A reminder for identity photos just taken. I confirm the images and the file number. Layla mirrors the click and saves her receipt. He checks his phone and pretends to read nothing. I order a ride and keep my gaze forward. Do not show up at the house, I warn him. Use the app and schedule your hour. He nods again, smaller this time and hollow. Layla gives me a tight look that says ready. The car stops and I reach for the door. He calls my name once and steps into the lane. Pick one, I tell him before he speaks. Never see her again or follow every rule. He stares at the asphalt like it answers. Layla turns away and flags another car. She climbs in and closes the door with resolve. I get in mine and watch him through glass. He stands there with his phone and a deadline. I tell the driver home and the city keeps moving. My inbox pings and the lab header fills the screen. Match probability sits on the first line like a verdict. I forward it to both of them with the case number. Then I press record and read it aloud, calm and slow. Across the room, he grips the chair until his knuckles whiten. He steps forward and stops when my hand rises. No panic messages to her, I warn with my eyes. You follow the schedule or you lose the hour. He swallows and nods like gravity just doubled. The phone buzzes again with the court reminder. We enter the courthouse through separate doors by design. My attorney meets me with 2 clipped sentences. Temporary order on deck, keep answers tight. I nod and stash the papers under my arm. He lingers near Ewall until the clerk calls us. In the hearing room, the judge reads our filings. I hold my breath while the affidavits stack. He stares at the clock and avoids my face. Supervised contact 2 hours weekly, the judge rules. Violations result in immediate suspension, she adds, voice firm. He raises a hand and lowers it before speaking. Questions come after compliance, the judge says without looking up. My attorney slides me a copy to sign. I sign clean, then pass the page across. He signs slower, eyes glassy, pen scratching like sand. Outside, the scheduler offers the Sunday slot. Center opens at noon, she says with practiced patience. He books the earliest window and pockets the receipt. I set a calendar alert and lock the time. No one mentions forgiveness because the order speaks louder. At the center, a staffer checks our IDs one by one. She explains the rules in crisp, short steps. Child with you, exchange through us, no side conversations. I nod and show the court order to the camera. He rubs his wrist and glances toward the hallway. Our daughter reaches for him when the monitor beeps. He steps forward and looks to the observer for permission. Stay in the play area, the staffer instructs. He kneels and whispers her name with a trembling smile. I stand behind glass and watch the clock tick hard. He tries to hand her a wrapped package. The staffer intercepts and points to the posted policy. No gifts without prior approval, she reminds him. His shoulders fold, then he refocuses on a simple game. I count each minute like a payment clearing. Halfway through, he looks up and mouths 2 words. Thank you, no sound, only a thin breath. The observer lifts a finger and shakes her head once. He returns to stacking blocks like the rules demand. I write the moment down for the file anyway. When time ends, the staffer gestures with a flat palm. He hesitates and then releases her gently. She toddles toward me with a sticky grin. He takes 1 backward step and holds his breath. I scoop her up and face the window again. Outside, he waits by the curb with empty hands. Next Sunday, same time, I say, keeping it even. Automated transfer cleared yesterday, he says, voice rough. Recurring, I reply, then point toward the clinic doors. If you miss, the order tightens without debate. My phone lights with a message from the agency. Case status updated, interview canceled, further review initiated. I read it twice and forward it to counsel. He sees his name on the preview and blinks hard. I tilt the screen so he understands every letter. He leans against the post like the world tilted. I can file for voluntary departure, he mutters. You can follow the plan and be present, I counter. Pick the path that lets her see consistency. He looks at the sidewalk like it might answer. Layla texts from the clinic with one line. Appointment set for next week with prenatal intake. I send back a simple acknowledgement and a boundary reminder. No contact outside official channels, all updates through counsel. She replies with a thumbs up and nothing else. He pockets his phone and squares his shoulders. I will show up on time next week, he says. Good, I answer, already walking to the rideshare. Keep it boring, keep it steady, keep it legal. He nods once like the words weigh a ton. At home, I upload the supervision log and timestamp. I file the signed order in the secure folder. The sitter hands me a feeding report and a quiet smile. I sign the receipt and lower my voice to a whisper. Sunday worked, will keep the guardrails tight. My screen flickers with a final alert from HR. His employer scheduled a compliance debrief for Monday morning. I forward it to my attorney with 2 bullets. Attendance confirmed, documents synchronized, no adjustments requested. Then I set my phone down and listen for breathing. He texts a single sentence before the night closes. Thank you for letting me see her today. I stare at the message until the cursor stops blinking. Then I type 4 words that end the argument. Follow the order or goodbye.